T.I and Grand, we don't get those. Hurry up, this is Lad Key.
Young Dro was born to one heart around 1979. Remember his birth name, it's important later. What up guys, Ali here and welcome to Ali Talks Music. Add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video. He was raised in Bankhead on the west side of Atlanta and chose to follow a musical path at a very young age despite his parents' lack of support. He knew the dream was possible thanks to one of his best friends, Chris Daddy Mac Smith, who formed one half of Criss Cross before he even reached teenhood. However, despite his friend's youthful success, Dro did not begin pursuing a career as a rapper until he was 20, signing with the Dream's local label Tight for Life around 1999. While under the label, he rapped only as Dro. This signing was what gave Dro the foundation and the platform to find success. While there, he released the regional hit Yes Sir.
Yes, sir. Neck full of treasure, I'm so pressure.
As well as his debut album I Got That Dro around 2001. Despite the regional success, the album and single failed to chart. After that, Young Dro went kinda silent. He didn't even release music for about 5 years. No albums, no mixtapes, and no singles. He appeared to have given up on the dream, but it turns out he was only waiting for the right time to strike. By 2004, he had reconnected with rapper T.I, whom he had known since the early 90s, and signed to the rapper's then new label, Grand Hustle Records. Despite signing around 2004, Dro would not drop music for another 2 years, but boy, when he dropped, he popped.
Tip came to the studio one day and he asked Rock, he was like, I need my ball here with me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
What you want for him? And I guess they told me to get out so they can talk about it.
Okay.
So that happened like that. And after they got through talking, something happened and it really didn't go that way.
So Rocco came and grabbed you from Raheem, and then Tip came and grabbed you from Rocco, or something of those.
Yeah, just like that.
Around 2006, he released his commercial debut in the form of the madly popular single Show the Lean with T.I.
This Grand Hustle team of kings is getting rich. I lean and get lit.
The song was an instant hit, peaking at number 10 on the Hot 100, and even went double platinum. The single was followed by his debut mixtape Day One, his major label debut album Best Thing Smoking, and its second single Rubber Band Banks. He closed off the year winning the Ozone Awards Best Rapper Award, and that, dear viewers, was his peak. Following his majorly successful 2006, Young Dro opened up 2007 with a spot on XXL's very first freshman class alongside rappers like Plies, Rich Boy, and Papoose. But after that, he began his slow descent from success, releasing mixtape after mixtape with no album in sight. He did another disappearing act around 2007, but returned around 2008 with his mixtape I Am Legend. 2009 followed with another 2 mixtapes, R.I.P. and his collaboration with Young L.A., Black Boy Swag, White Boy Tags, which spawned the largely unsuccessful single Take Off.
What you say? You say self-proclaimed.
Self-proclaimed. Well, you are the king. I ain't even
mean,
gonna front.
yeah,
You are
ain't
the
no
king.
disputes. Ain't no
disputes about that. You are the king.
Thank you.
All right, so we talked with LA and Joe earlier. Right now, we got a lot of things we got to ask you. You know what I'm saying? First of all, how you feeling right now? How's everything going?
Cool, man.
2010 also brought only one mixtape, Dro Street. From 2011 to 2013, he dropped more mixtapes, probably about 5 of them. And around 2013, Young Dro dropped the mixtape Day 2 to prepare his fans for his second major label album, High Times. The album was a complete flop in comparison to his 2006 attempt. It debuted at number 57 on the Billboard 200 and sold only about 6,000 copies in the first week. Despite appearances from major rappers like T.I, Doe B, and Problem, the album slipped away from memory after spawning the singles FDB and Strong.
What you wanna do here? I'ma float like Rubel.
FDB was by far the star of the show, although it did miss the Hot 100 entirely. After the failure of his album, Dro went back to dropping mixtapes in an effort to regain his fan base. Around 2014, he dropped the mixtapes Purple Label and Black Label, and around 2015 he dropped a mixtape with Zaytoven called Hellcat, as well as his third studio album, The Reality Show. Once again, the album performed very poorly and spawned the singles We and the City and Ugh, neither of which charted. 2015 was also the same year he first got a taste for tabloid drama. This story is so outlandish, it's so hard to believe it's real. It involves Young Dro borrowing a car from a friend and failing to return it, after which he was arrested. There are two versions of the story, but you can decide which one is more accurate. In the first version, Dro borrowed a Cadillac CTS from his friend, a local female rapper named Robin Fly. He was supposed to borrow the car for a few hours and return it, but he failed to do so, resulting in Fly reporting the car stolen. Police then tracked the car through GPS and located it at an apartment complex where they arrested him. Dro was taken into custody around March 29th, and after posting the $2,000 bail, he was released the following day. Now, after failing to show up at his arraignment, another warrant was issued for his arrest with a $15,000 set bond. This was then thrown out after he appeared to court 4 hours late. The second version of events is far more interesting in my opinion. In this version, there is a debate as to whether the woman was actually a stripper or simply worked at the strip club Pink Pony, but she remains unnamed. In this version, Dro asked to borrow her Cadillac, which he allowed on the condition that he fetched her after her shift at the Pink Pony. He failed to do so, and she tracked down her car using OnStar to a parking lot where it had been abandoned. As she arrived in the parking lot, police did too, having received reports of two men driving the car erratically. When they arrived, they saw a big bag of broccoli on the back seat, resulting in the police searching her car further, which in turn revealed a stolen gun. The dancer was then arrested for gun and drug related charges. As soon as she was released, she filed a grand theft auto report with police, who then arrested Dro. Despite facing 10 years in prison, Dro wound up pleading guilty in court, resulting in a $1,000 fine and 3 years probation and a lot of tabloid coverage.
Tell him the truth. Like, I heard the story last night.
What's the story?
Yo, Dro got arrested.
Occasionally take a drink.
I heard you got arrested in Atlanta for theft or something.
No.
Yeah.
You recently had a little jail stint that I think a lot of people were confused about.
It was some domestic stuff.
Hey man, I got something to tell y'all.
How long you had
to
to
go to jail the other day? So they was like, was it true you got that car?
That's definitely not what happened. Actually, none of the 3 stories or 4 stories that I've heard so far on his, recorded interviews are anything close to what really happened.
Around 2016, he returned to his mixtapes, dropping another one with Zaytoven called Boot Me Up, as well as another solo piece called Phoenix. This year, having found his flavor in tabloid drama, Young Dro spent a lot of time receiving media coverage. He was arrested twice this year for drug-related charges. The first time was in January, where he was arrested by the Clayton County Sheriff's Department for violating the Controlled Substance Act. The second time he was arrested that year was in August, and this time it was in relation to both drugs and a gun. He was arrested at Georgia Southern University, where he was scheduled to perform at the school's Statesboro Summer Jam. He was charged with carrying a weapon in a school safety zone, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon or first-time offender, possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana, and possession of a controlled substance. He was denied bond for the incident and spent 35 days in jail before paying various fines and legal fees, the total of which was never made to the public. He also revealed that the weapon was not his and actually belonged to his then estranged label mate, Spodee, who was supposed to appear at the performance and was arrested alongside him. That was my partner. But I guess it wasn't for me. He turned the story around and was like, they're just saying the gun is mine because of who Dro is. It's his gun. He has a record. We cuffed, and I was trying to slide over so I could headbutt him.
We didn't, because they walked me to my room. Like, if you smell that and you're a cop, like, I'll rip. Hey man, you smell like, let me search you.
Feel me? They would have searched. They searched me.
He continued to make headlines that year for another reason. This time, speculation suggests that he was the father of Jocelyn Hernandez's kid.
So you didn't hit him back?
No. What we gonna talk about? I'm definitely not dating this girl, you know, and I don't got nothing to talk about.
It's a headline. It was a headline on VH1 said Young Dro talks about getting Jocelyn pregnant and beef with Stevie J.
Nah.
Rumors were flying after the pair recorded a song together and were seen hanging out at various locations. Young Dro later confirmed that he would be appearing in Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, but when asked about the possibility of being Jocelyn's baby daddy, he simply replied, "No comment. I just want to finish out what me and Jocelyn did. When we did the studio thing, thought that was just it. But the network been looking for me. We won Dro. I wasn't in the position to be on anybody's TV. I didn't want to let anybody in my personal business. But at the same time, I wanted to finish out what me and her started." Now, Young Dro did not appear on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and it was discovered that he was not the father of Jocelyn's child.
Man, we got Miss Jocelyn.
What's up? Where's the sexy ladies in the building at? I know y'all riding in y'all Beamers and y'all Bentleys and y'all Phantoms with y'all Rolexes on and y'all diamonds on. Get that check, ladies. That's what I'm talking about. Puerto Rican princess in the building.
Guess who else I got with me? I got Dolly in the building.
Almost a year after the incident, Young Dro and Spodee went at it publicly on Instagram over Dro's jail time. Spodee took the first shot and recorded a video where he showed the alleged police statement and read portions out loud claiming that Dro snitched. What you're looking at right here, is a statement written by Duane Hart. Long story short, it belonged to one artist by the name of Jonathan Carr. That's me. Mr. Hart did also specifically name Mr. Carr as the offender in possession of all contraband. Later in the video, Spodee clarified that Dro told him it was okay to bring the gun to the event, since a DJ would claim it, thus alleviating them from any liability. But in all honesty, why would you need to bring a gun on a university campus anyway? Dro obviously clapped back immediately in a series of videos, alleging that Spodee's girlfriend had sent police back to his house to look for guns. Listen, I ain't about to take no charge for you. Was that Spodee gun? Hell yeah, that was Spodee's gun. In all the back and forth, Young Dro ended up being dropped from Grand Hustle, although he and T.I had different opinions on why that happened. Around mid-2016, Dro claimed that he had left the label amicably to start his own label, Grit Game Records. A lot of things went on when I was signed to my last deal. A lot of people really downplayed who I am and what I do for a living. A lot of people don't want to see me in the position that I'm headed toward right now. A lot of people might think lesser, and it's not like that. I'm the Phoenix. Naturally, this interview took place around the same time he dropped the Phoenix mixtape. Now, why did Young Dro get dropped from Grand Hustle? This is what T.I had to say on the matter. We can't have anyone in our group that is quick to tell police our business. I feel like now is not the time to have him in our group. Regardless, the album We Want Smoke will be released as planned on September 15th, 2017. Unfortunately, the album ended up being an EP on Grand Hustle, with Dro dropping his own 5th album, The Real Atlanta Through Real Talk. This is where things get a bit weird. The rest of his mixtapes were all dropped through Grand Hustle, and he technically remains signed to the label to this day, but his albums and EPs were released elsewhere.
Well, man, me and my brother got this record label, man. We got this record label called Grit Game, man, and we just, it's the debut of this whole thing, man. Me and my brother Trey got the record label together, so we finna put out everybody on here, man. Louis Lennon is the first artist, man. Okay. Grit Game Records, man. Getting rich in the trenches, man. You feel me?
Album number 6 and his latest album, Hydroponic, came out in 2019 and was released through Real Talk. He went on to release more EPs and tapes, but as far as his label goes, nothing really came out of it. Now around 2019, the man was arrested again, this time over banana pudding. During this time period, Young Dro and his girlfriend were in their home eating dinner when they began arguing over money. The fight continued to escalate until Young Dro threw a plate of banana pudding at her. They continued to throw food at one another until the police arrived at the residence. Young Dro was then arrested for 2 counts of misdemeanor battery/family violence. Of course, his girlfriend did not press charges. Dro remained in police custody. Why, you ask? Due to a child support contempt order. In order to be released from prison, Dro would have to fork out over $10,000 of the $41,000 in back child support. In a bizarre turn of events, nothing came of the child support case, and Dro ended up pleading guilty on one count of battery/family violence against a girlfriend who didn't want to press charges. Since then, Dro appears to have kept his nose clean. And there you have it, guys, the really random story of Young Dro. He fell off because he waited too long between his first and second albums, and after that he was labeled a snitch, which we all know is a death sentence in the rap community. Remember Tekashi 6ix9ine? Me neither. Essentially, I don't think Young Dro took his career seriously. He was known for his laid-back attitude and sense of humor. Ultimately, that was his downfall. Technically, he's still very active in the music industry. He still drops music with Zaytoven, and on Spotify he has about 400,000 monthly listeners, and his most listened to songs are Shoulder Lean, FDB, We in the City, Ain't I, and Rubber Band Banks. That's it. For me, it's your boy Ali. What happened to Young Dro in your opinion? Let me know down below. Video requests, I'm always taking those. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.